Yes, right before we took the break, I was having a conversation with Charity Karanja. She is the chief agronomist at Home Biogas Kenya, and we're just talking about renewable energy, how you can use methane gas to your advantage in your household. So in case you rear cows or livestock, and you're wondering what you can actually do with the manure that's usually set aside or dumped at the end of the day because there's no particular use for it in your farm, this is one of the solutions that can not just help you in your homestead, but actually reduce emissions in terms of greenhouse emissions, which we're all about after the just concluded Africa Climate Summit. So as we continue, Charity, it's proper to note that you're based in Central. Yeah. So one of the curious questions, if I'm a farmer in Western Coastal Nairobi region, can I get this set up for me? And equally, at the end of the day, what would you term as the benefit of using this alternative as compared to the conventional means that we do right here in the country?
All right, so when we decided to set up Home Biogas in Kenya, we decided to do a plan in terms of to gradually go through counties. And we first settled in Central Kenya because, of course, you'll attract a bit of more smallholder farmers. But that doesn't mean that we are not willing to get to other counties. That's a business strategy that we're getting into. We intend to get to other counties. However, we found out that there could be about 10 farmers in a certain region, maybe in Western, who are interested in buying the system. So if we have about 10, because of cost of installations and everything and logistics, we could install for them. But this could be 100% cash. So we might not go in there lipam pole. Because one of our services in Home Biogas is we set up the system for you. So when you pay the small installment, we'll come with the entire set, the digester, the piping, the filter, and the stove. And then we will train you on how to use it. And then we will be with you in this journey for the next 2 years. Because we want you to understand the dynamics of the system. How does it work? If it has a bit of problems, how do I sort it out? So this is a journey we want to work with the farmer to ensure they get 100% benefits from this system. And so that also for the quality of that, we do not want to keep stretching too far for the sake of the quality of the service. Yes.
It's good to know that you have follow-up after the system has been set.
Right. Why you need to move to this? Statistics say a farmer who solely uses firewood or charcoal, they will cut about 10 to 12 trees in a year. So we're talking about higher level of deforestation. So imagine the 2,000 smallholder farmers who are using firewood and charcoal, cutting 10 trees a year. I know there's an ideal way of, we keep growing and keep growing. But this is another problem. Because of the climatic changes and sustainable farming, because the two have to merge. Climate change and sustainable farming are both dependent on each other. So if we know we're still pushing on growing trees, but some years, 20 years ago, you could plant 5 trees and 5 will grow. A decade later, you could plant 5 and maybe 4 will grow. And that has kept going low, down and down and down because of the dead soils that have come up with degradation with time. So why would you choose this system? We are reducing indoor pollution. So there is no health implication brought in by breathing in smoke. Number 2, we are reducing deforestation. So this is a system, will also support climate change. And the fertilizer that you get will support your soil and your farming. And this is how we are supporting dairy farmers. This biofertilizer is able to support the fodder crop. I just read on the papers that there's a proposal to introduce 5% tax on the dairy farmer. So this means the production could be the same, but the cost of selling will be lower,
Yeah.
or rather will be high, and so they'll have to. Then there's high cost of feeds. So you find you're able to support the farmer in terms of clean cooking gas, and you're able to support them in production of feed to the livestock. So actually, this is why home biogas is such a solution to both sustainable farming and climate change.
Okay, and I have to ask, what's the level of uptake as we speak right now?
All right, so we have 2,000 farmers who already have the systems in the last 2 years.
Okay, that's quite commendable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So as we get to understand the grassroots and the farmers get to understand the importance of the system, the uptake is becoming, people are getting to understand the sensitization is out there. We've worked so hard to bringing out the word out there because that is what we realized is lacking in Kenya. People do not understand the value of biogas, and yet we have so much potential in it. So the uptake is high, and of course, our value proposition has made it easier because a farmer only needs to pay 3,300 shillings a month for 2 years to get the system.
Okay.
And if you look at how much they spend on firewood, how much they spend on buying charcoal, how much they spend on buying fertilizer, is one and the same or more than 3,300 shillings. So we're just replacing their cost for just 2 years, and then after 2 years, that system is yours, so they are saving their costs 100%.
And does a farmer have to be connected to the electricity grid for this to happen? Because you're working with areas that are perhaps far-flung, and that might be one of the considerations as a farmer. Do I have to have electricity to have this system?
No, you just need to have sunlight.
Are you serious?
Just the sun. Because
Okay.
the system just requires your manure
It's simple.
and the sun. Because the sun will speed up the bacteria.
Okay.
And that's it. And you have your clean cooking gas and you have your fertilizer.
Okay, that's really proper. And
Right.
we have some pictures of the fire that comes from this whole process. It's really proper to note. So at the end of the day, why choose biogas as a social entrepreneurship avenue? Why biogas?
Again, going back to the Nairobi Declaration, they say that Kenya has 40% resources of renewable energy, but we only have 2% investment in Africa. So this is a niche that home biogas actually identified, and this investment is the direction to the climate change we're talking about. We will not experience climate change if we do not take solutions that help in climate change. And one of the greatest challenges in climate is methane gas, greenhouse gases, deforestation, and these are the solutions we are bringing on board. So this is why you need to actually move, because climate change is not just talking about it, but actually embracing it with the solutions that you have to bring on board. Yeah.
Okay, that's really proper. So at the end of the day, we have farmers who've taken up this particular project. Are there any challenges that stand out in the process? Because as you mentioned it, right before you go whole scale, perhaps not just in central, but the whole of the country, you're definitely looking at and dotting the I's, crossing the T's. Well, what's the biggest challenge in terms of uptake of biogas, especially by dairy farmers?
I think knowledge gap is the highest contributor of why there might be a bit slow uptake of biogas.
Yeah.
Sometimes you will go to a farmer and you will tell them that you you can actually convert your manure into biogas, and then they've never heard about it. One of the strategies we decided to take is a strategy called City Guys, because we realized the people in the urban centers really know about biogas. People know, read, understand it, but they can't utilize it here.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately. And the rural people, unfortunately, who have the resources, do not have the information. So we are using the city people. The city people is you and I who have parents in the rural areas to actually become a source of information, a tool of information, so that people can begin to understand. And not just understanding, but also understanding the value of it. So that way, I think with time, there'll be uptake of this system because information is out there. And we as home biogas have been very deliberate in ensuring that we are participating in these forums to share as much information as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've mentioned 5 hours. If I have 2 buckets of, cow dung, cow manure, and it will push me for 5 hours in terms of cooking. Can we blow this up in terms of an industrial scale? How possible is it to package and sell it, especially to those urbanites who do not have the, the space nor the animals to, assist in this whole production? How can we, blow it up?
All right. Methane gas can be compressed. There are technologies that can compress gas, into making it, into fitting it into gas cylinders.
Okay.
The challenge is the systems, because of the some of the surveys we did at the onset. The main challenge was cooking hours. The system is only able to support 5 hours, and 5 hours is what the farmer requires a day. So yes, I know with technology and embracing the technology, with time, there will be, chances and all reasons to package it and go industrial.
Okay.
But I think the focus is to actually, because our focus is smallholder farmers, and they need 5 hours, and that's what the system can do. So at this particular time, as home biogas, we are not industrials because our target market is the smallholder farmers. And if we begin to tap their gas, then it means they will have less production of gas, and it will not be sufficient, and it will not be able to meet their needs.
Okay.
But yeah, with time, I know technology as it comes will begin to produce biogas, methane gas into maybe compressible units that can be packed into cylinders. But it's a very expensive venture to get into. Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the bottlenecks I was about to ask. But anyway, the cost factor, since you brought up the expense, you've mentioned kuna lipa mdogo mdogo for the small-scale farmers, particularly in central Kenya. Talk to us about that payment structure.
Okay.
But equally, in case I'm interested and we're a group of farmers outside central Kenya, how far back will we be set back in terms of setting up this unit? Yeah.
All right. So we have 2 payment plans,
okay,
as I said, as I mentioned earlier. So the first payment plan is lipa mdogo mdogo. The unit is 87,500. So what we require from a farmer is to pay 5,000 shillings. 5,000 shillings will come and set up the system for you. You will not require to bring in anything. All you require is to give us your piece of land, prepare your land. It needs to be in a flat area because our system is not dug in.
Okay. And how big of parcel?
It's 7 meters cubic. So it's 7 meters long and 2 meters wide. So it's placed on the ground. So there's no much labor in terms of digging in, because they're not the systems that you dig in, but ours is just a flat. So we'll bring in everything. We'll bring the digester, we'll bring in the piping, we'll bring in the filters, everything in your 5,000 shillings. After 14 to 21 days, we'll come and light up your gas. And then from there, you'll be required to pay 3,300 shillings every month for the next 2 years. 3,300 shillings is just the minimum.
Okay.
So if you would like to pay more so that you're able to clear up your balance, fine by you. But we have farmers who want to purchase on cash, so we give them a 15% discount, and they are able to purchase it at 74,400. In our new strategy of city guys is why we are actually calling out people in the city to help purchase for their families at home. And we now approach it at the cash level of 74,400. So we allow you either to pay in 2 installments. You can pay the 36,000 shillings in 2 installments, or you can pay your first installment of about 36,000, and then your parents can continue paying the 3,300 shillings. So that's the model of payment we have in Kenya.
Okay, that's
at home biogas. Yeah.
Okay, so it's definitely gives the farmer a little bit room to wiggle and figure out their expenses, so they can meet what you've set out. At the end of the day, if a farmer is watching right now and they're not convinced, so I'd like to give you an opportunity to perhaps sell this, because it's a very important aspect, even as we plug into the conversation of, reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the country. So if a farmer is here watching and he has an issue, I have manure, but I don't know what to do with it. why should I think of methane or biogas? Yeah.
All right. I want to speak to you, my smallholder farmer. That 2 buckets of manure you have in your home has an opportunity to build you. One, in terms of your health. You'll no longer have coughing and the sneezing and the blocking of your lungs. That will stop. And number 2, it's just going to be a plug and play thing for you. You just wake up in the morning, switch on your gas, cook, and you don't need firewood. You don't need labor to go fetch for firewood. You don't require all those things because your 2 buckets of manure are enough to save you from all this. More than that, you don't have to suffer from the cost of livestock feeds. I know you're going through that now because the biofertilizer is able to help you grow your fodder crop, and not just grow it, it's increasing its nutrition value, and it's going to increase its mass, so you'll have lots in the same piece of land. So this is going to save you, not just for your fodder crop, for all your crops, maize, vegetable, everything, your fruit trees. This is an all-rounded system for you that will save you cost, make you earn more, and reduce your cost of production.
Okay. Are there any health hazards we should look out for? Because perhaps with LPG, we well know that it's combustible and it can definitely cause harm if exposed in the wrong environment. So when it comes to biogas, is it totally safe?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So methane is a very light gas.
Okay.
Against propane. So propane, when you leave your gas leaking, it's a heavy gas. So it goes right below the oxygen. So it's floating towards, it's a heavy gas. So it will be towards where you are. But when methane leaks, it goes right above the environment because it's a very light gas.
Okay.
So in case you left it leaking and you maybe light up, it won't blow up.
That's good to note. Okay.
Yeah. Number 2, the system has something we call a filter. So your gas will not be smelling poop in your kitchen because it has been filtered, so there is no smell. And then your pans will not be turning black. It will not be coated black because the sulfides are also filtered in this.
Yeah.
So your gas is safe. You will not die because of inhaling it. Yeah? That's the goodness about gas. Number 2, your gas, your digester, in case it fills up and you're not able to use the gas, it will not blow up. Because we have an escape measure that we have where the gas is able, a pressure release, where the gas is able to escape in case it fills the system. So it's a very safe tool to use. Yeah.
That's well to note. So for a farmer who's back at home and you're thinking about what to do with your manure, which is in excess since you have livestock, this is definitely a good initiative in terms of not just helping you back at home, in terms of cooking, in terms of fertilizer for your farm and whatnot, but you'll definitely contribute in the fight against climate change. Look at the bigger picture, as they usually say. Charity Karanja.